Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Boss Rush Podcast, a great place to play games and be better. I'm one of your hosts, Corey Dirrig, and alongside me, as always, is the PC Muscle Race himself, wearing long sleeves today.
Because his muscles hurt.
Yeah, his muscles hurt.
Oh, yes, they do. Oh, yes.
He's letting him recharge. LeRon Dawkins. Hi, LeRon.
Hey, everyone. What's up?
Also joining us, the newly set up office, Mad Pharmacist Stephanie Klimov. Hi, Stephanie.
Hi, I'm so glad to have my new TV mounted on the wall. Mounting a TV really sucks, and it's a pain in the ass.
Did you do it by yourself?
No, hell no.
Oh, I was gonna say that really
I had
sucks.
someone do it for me.
Oh, well.
But so yeah, no, that's great. And I'm in a mushy mood tonight. I gotta say, it's so nice to see y'all. It's been a crazy week so far. It's only Wednesday, so it's great to be here.
Yeah.
It's a crazy week, all right, and you, I guess you and me both, Stephanie, are hunkering down for whatever this storm is about to bring.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Oh yeah, you guys have a storm coming from the south.
From the south, yeah. Right now, Virginia is right now my region of Virginia is looking at 9.5 inches.
We had 18 here.
Ooh.
Did you see the picture I put in Discord?
Yeah, I saw the picture. Was that your van?
That was my Nissan Versa.
Oh, it was a Versa?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Covered in snow. Just piled. It was insane. 17 or 18 inches we got.
Well, let me ask you a question. How fast does your region recover from snow? Because my region that I live in, they act like it's the apocalypse.
I mean,
and it takes forever. You get stuck in your house for over a week if it's more than 6 inches.
Yeah,
if it's more than 6 inches, then we don't have decent sunlight that melts it.
Our roads were pretty clear within 6 hours, so it was pretty clear. But I couldn't get out of my driveway, so.
I would say, up in Boston, we handle things pretty well. Although, for whatever reason, when I was younger, I at least got the impression that people just toughed it out. And we still kind of do, but maybe because I drive, back when I was a kid versus not driving, people still don't know how to freaking drive. Regardless. So I can't control the stupidity of drivers, but for the most part, us New Englanders, we just tough it out and do what we got to do.
It's fair. Yeah, it's... Ohio is a cold weather state, as they say, and we are prepared. There's literally a salt cocoon 2 miles down the highway. So where they store the salt for the year and then they just pull it out when they're done, when they need it. They just back the trucks up and they're just like, salt me up. Salt on the roads is fine. Some of the roads around here are even heated too. So
whoa,
what?
Yeah. Whoa, what's that like?
They just put these I don't know, heaters in the cement. I guess I don't know how it works on some of the highways and stuff. Yeah, although it's still pretty bad. I don't know how well they work. They clearly don't work well, but I know there are some heaters in the highway and stuff.
It's like the bidet of roads. Nice.
Doesn't a bidet squirt your asshole and make it clean?
Well, yes, it's part of its functionality, but the other part is that it has heated seats. Okay, That's the only part I was referencing.
I don't know. I don't have one. I don't get the. I don't get this nice.
Was I looking at the wrong ones on Hello Tushy? I didn't know about freaking.
Listen. I never used the cleaning your ass functionality on bidets, but I've sat on one and it's warm and comfortable. Nothing you guys need to know.
Maybe I'm the weirdo, but I kind of like a crisp chill, on the toilet seat when I sit down.
Yeah, if it's warm, if it's warm, it just tells me that somebody was sitting there for a half hour already handling their business.
Yeah, it weirds me out.
Yeah, so
okay. Well, while we're not talking about warming our tushies on a bidet.
Yeah. Speaking of warming their tushies, Microsoft just warmed Activision's tushies with $70 billion. I'm just going to say that.
Boy.
Not that we talk about a lot of news on this show, but
God! Well, that's worth damn, yeah.
Man.
And that image that you've shared, like the new Xbox, like it looks like a big banner of like all the studios and properties.
Yeah.
It's massive.
Yeah, I was looking at a list of, not that we're gonna really talk about this today, really, but there was a list.
Didn't we kind of beat it into the ground last night on Crossroads?
We did, and we also did a whole special episode of Arsenal X on it.
You guys did? Okay.
Yeah, earlier yesterday, we recorded during my lunch break a 40-minute episode of Arsenal X talking about it. It came out. Did you not listen?
I was wondering what was going on.
Did you not listen, LeRon? Thanks.
I do like the point you guys touched upon on the episode, by the way, that especially like what Toys for Bob and stuff like that, where, Xbox now has the ability to like give those devs some breathing room to focus on, I'm not saying like childlike games, but just like a subset of games that they just didn't have diversity in.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited for that.
Yeah. I mean, the one thing that Microsoft does not have is kid properties. What, Banjo, I guess, right? But that's like the humor and stuff, and that is more for like
adults I feel like adults enjoy that more than kids do.
Yeah, I know. It's like teen humor almost, right? And then Conquer is clearly aimed at adults.
Yeah.
Like,
I guess it's more like the more bright and colorful, whimsical properties, right? Versus the dark, gritty, whatever, which is fine too. But like I said, diversity, you can't go wrong with that.
Yeah. So I mean, Microsoft now owns. I mean, on top of Crash and Spyro, they own Skylanders now, which they could probably do something really interesting with instead of like the toy stuff. Geometry Wars. They own Guitar Hero and Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. They own now. Like, there's a lot of stuff they own. They own Pitfall now, which could be their answer to Uncharted theoretically, if you want to dig deep into the whatever rabbit hole, I guess. And obviously the big ones are Call of Duty, Overwatch, and World of Warcraft. They all own now. So anyways, if you want to hear more about that, you can go listen to Crossroads or Arsenal X, where we took a huge deep dive on that.
Yep, the early viewing of Crossroads is out right now on my YouTube channel.
Yeah. Go watch it.
And where is that YouTube channel at, LeRon, for the audience?
Wow.
It's youtube.com/exodus803.
Thank you.
Or on bossrush.net tomorrow. Or if you're listening on Friday or Monday, right now. You can listen to it right now.
Look at that. There's just no excuse not to.
No excuse. Listen to the shows.
So much content for you guys now.
Too much content, some say.
Yeah.
My eyeballs say, because they're always tired.
They don't know what they're talking. They don't know what they're talking about.
By the way, the free feeds of After Dark and Standard Def also premiere this week, so there's even more content for you to listen to if you don't give us $1 on Patreon.
There's so much variety. There's so much variety for you guys.
The best content, especially that first episode of After Dark, for sure.
We love you.
I mean, sure.
Yeah.
I don't know you, listener. I don't know if I love you or not. I could.
All right. Well, LeRon and I will love you so much that it'll compensate for Corey's uncertainty.
That's fair. I'll be there. I'll watch, I guess.
Corey has to be wanting to dine. He has to be wanting to dine before he can make any any commitments.
Yeah.
That's fair.
I got to see what I'm in for.
He's...
Or I just sell my soul for $1 and you can get it all 2 weeks early and then I'll love you. No, I'm just kidding. Where are we even going? I don't even know where.
I don't know.
Look, I don't even know what's happening. I don't even know where the show notes are. I mean, there aren't any technically, but I can't.
I was going to say, since when did we have show notes?
Hey, I sent them to our guests last week. I sent them to Matt last week. I typed them out, real nice. Okay, I try sometimes.
All right, so Stephanie, did you feel like we were stuck in the middle of a weird love affair last week between those two?
Look, I'm sorry.
And we're just there to watch, there to observe.
I mean, it was like never mind. I'll save it for After Dark.
It was great, Corey.
It's nothing bad.
It was very touching.
It was.
It just felt like, when you don't see your. It's like, have you guys ever seen How I Met Your Mother, the episode where like their friends come back, their old friends come back, and like they start acting all different because their friends come back, and it's like the friendship effect or whatever. That's what it was like. I just slid right back into the old, ways, I guess. Anyways, this is Boss Rush Podcast, the flagship show of the Boss Rush Network, where each and every week we get together with our friends from around the internet to talk about video games, gaming culture, and everything we love about it. You can catch the show live on twitch.tv/Boss Rush Network every Wednesday night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, or on free feeds on Monday mornings on YouTube and podcast services, or you can get it 3 days early over on Patreon, patreon.com/Boss Rush Network, along with 2-week early access to After Dark and Standard Definition. Leave us a 5-star review on iTunes or Spotify and subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't already. Remember, you can find all of our content on bossrush.net. Quick reminder, the store is open. You can buy some merch. By the time this goes up on free feeds, the Disney Standard Definition shirt will be up. The Indiana Jones Standard Definition shirt will be up. And you already know the Marvel Standard Definition shirt is up. So you can go check that out.
Yep.
Along with a bunch of other things like Talk the Walk, Snacktendo, and all of your favorite shows here on the Boss Rush Network. Let's get into what we've been playing. We don't have a guest. Who goes first? LeRon, you go first, because I know you want to talk about Monster Hunter some more.
What makes you don't want to talk about Monster Hunter?
You always want to talk about Monster Hunter. And now it's on PC,
yeah.
so...
Mass Effect, right? Maybe? I don't know.
Stoy turned every time LeRon mentioned PC last night into a drinking game, so...
Oh, nice.
Surprised Stoy was still up after hour 3.
Right? Yes, I am currently playing Monster Hunter Rise for the PC, and I will say this, it is a better experience... It's a better experience this time around than it was when it first debuted on the Switch, because all the content is there.
Whoa!
And I don't mean, and what I mean by that, I don't mean that like everything is unlocked in the game. What I mean is the game came out in the version that it should have came out. You actually have your complete game to play through, including the end game content. Because Monster Hunter games, typically what happens is you get to a certain point, and in the story mode, it tells you, hey, this is the end all be all that you have to fight. But in the original version, when it launched for Switch, you get to a certain point, and then it's like, okay, please wait a month for us to give you the next thing. And so a lot of seasoned gamers like myself in Monster Hunter series, we're like, man, what's going on? So yes. But there's still new content coming out because they just added a new event quest that's brand new across both platforms, Switch and PC and stuff like that. So they're still adding content to the game, which I'm actually surprised, because I thought they were just going to drop this stuff out here and then okay, you're on your own till Sunbreak comes out. But I'm having fun. I'm doing a thing where I'm actually messing around with a new weapon this time. And yeah, I'm having fun.
Cool.
I also got to crack into the PC release of God of War.
Ooh, okay.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful, and it actually. We were talking about this last night on Crossroads. It actually, the second playthrough is actually pulling more emotion out of me this time around, because when he gives his wife the Nordic funeral, where he sets her out into the ocean and sets the boat on fire and stuff like that. I remember being like, okay, that's pretty cool the first time I played it back in 2018. This time I was like, man, there's so much depth to this now, because I'm familiar with the story. I know what's going on. And, seeing Kratos and Atreus, doing their thing and interacting, even though Kratos going to be Kratos, though. I'll say that.
Kratos going to be Kratos, he says.
But man, the game is gorgeous, and I'm going to have to split my time between Monster Hunter, God of War, and Mass Effect, because I am actually still playing Mass Effect, even though these new games are kind of chipping into it, and it's kind of what's stupid. What's stupid is Mass Effect Legendary Edition came out in May of last year, and then 3 weeks later in June, Monster Hunter Stories 2 comes out. And I feel like this trap with Mass Effect Legendary Edition has happened all over again, because I was playing Mass Effect Legendary Edition, a Monster Hunter game dropped. So it's taking my attention again. So I was like, man, poor Mass Effect. Like, what are we gonna do? And I'm going to play it. And yeah, that's everything. That's everything I've been playing. I'm making it short and sweet. If you want to hear more deep dives of what I've been doing on those games, check out Crossroads.
Cool. Yeah. Stephanie seems busy, so I guess I can go real quick. First of all, I finished Guardians of the Galaxy. Finished it. Put a nice big old bow on that.
Good job.
Yeah. Game number 1 of the year. Let's make it 2, because then I'll double my percentage of games I finished from last year. But yeah, I really liked, especially the second half of Guardians. It was really good. I think the characters are strong. Writing was great. I don't know how much more we can really say about that game. So, finished it. Moving on. I watched Marvel's Eternals finally. And, I don't know how I feel about it. I'm not super hot on it. I liked some of the characters, but I don't know. It just didn't feel like, this is going to sound weird. It just didn't feel like a Marvel movie. Like, it just felt so out of the realm of, like, you know, who are these characters, right? It was almost the same feeling that I got watching Guardians of the Galaxy the first time, except, like, I knew who a lot of those actors were, and, like, you know, it was easier to, like, okay, I get that this is going to be a comedy, so it was just easier for me to slide in there and be like, oh, I can probably enjoy this movie even though I don't know who these characters were. I didn't know who any of these actors were. I didn't know who any of these characters were, and I know nothing, like zero, about the Eternals. So it's like, I'm about to go in on this 2-hour and 40-minute movie that I know nothing about and don't know who any of these people are. I thought it was okay. It was okay. I think Cersei is a cool character. I look forward to seeing her in something better than this movie.
Okay.
I mean,
I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, okay. Well,
no. You're free to speak. Like,
I mean, I'm
like,
not spoiling anything, because, like, honestly, I still don't really know. I don't really even know what happened in this movie. I feel like this is just a setup movie in case they lose actors from the other movies that they have to insert some new characters in somewhere, and this is how they did it. The end credit scene was very, not the end credit scene, the mid credit scene, I should say, was very like, what? Like, why? And then I don't know. I thought it was okay. That's my take on it. I look forward to seeing Cersei come back in another Marvel movie, because that actress already confirmed that she's going to be back at some point. So I watched that, and then the last thing I played. So I got the NES controllers for Nintendo Switch Online. I opened them. They're not in the box. I opened them. So I wanted to test them out. So I played some Super Mario Brothers 3 last night. Played all of World 1. And they work. They're good. And I was like, yes. This is why I have not played NES games on this machine. Because all the buttons feel backwards on the Switch. Everything is just all flippity-flopped and whatever. Like, these buttons are side by side the way they're supposed to be. And I can just hold down B, press A to run, and it's fine. So the NES controllers, highly recommend. On sale still right now. If you go to the Nintendo store, I guess, online. Super Nintendo and N64 controllers still sold out.
Boo.
So that's kind of all I've been playing, though. I mean, not much. I've been cleaning. If you're watching the video version, I have all of my old games down here and going through them and probably getting rid of some of the stuff and curating my collection, I'll say. I'd lift my computer so you guys could see from the Skype call, but you know what? Screw it. I'm going to try. If I die.
Nice knowing you.
You see all that?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, man. Jeez.
Yeah. I'm like putting stuff away, prepping stuff to get rid of.
Spencer in the chat's like looking like a yard sale in Corey's room.
Yeah. So, yeah, because I'm moving my office into the toy room at some point. So I'm packing some stuff up and getting other stuff out that I think should be displayed, like my original Game Boy.
Nice.
Sounds like a good one to display. Anyway, Stephanie, what are you playing, watching, doing, working?
Let's see. Not watching too much. I mean, I watched Pinocchio over the weekend with my son, so I can't wait to talk about that on standard def. With what I'm playing, well, I had to transfer all my stuff that I wanted to transfer from my PS4 to my PS5, and since I don't have the best internet, that took forever, because in general that just takes a long time, and because that got clogged up, I couldn't play anything on my Xbox either, so I was just kind of plugging away at some of the small indie games that I bought on my Switch. So I beat Escape from Life Inc., which, ow, my cat, I need to trim her nails. It's actually a super fun game, really, really fun. Just kind of odd, bizarre, and quirky, but yeah, I really like it. So, and I don't know, that's kind of it. Like now, I did start a new job this week, so once I have some time, I'll, dive back into Ghost of Tsushima. Banjo-Kazooie drops tomorrow. Granted, when this episode goes live, it would have already dropped. I think that's where I'm going to spend the rest of my week, going into Banjo-Kazooie, which was a game that I loved. I always rented it at Blockbuster back in the day, but I feel like, I don't know, I wasn't a good gamer when I was a kid, so I couldn't collect enough jigsaw puzzle pieces, or whatever you want to call them, to be able to progress to like a certain level. And I always got frustrated, and I was always sad I could never beat the game, so I would love to do that.
Banjo's a good one. Highly recommend.
Yes.
Yeah,
I had that N64 controller.
I know. I'm waiting for that to play the N64 games. So what surprises me about the N64 controller is that they're not selling different colors. It's only the gray one.
It's weird.
Why aren't they selling different colors?
Fun, yeah.
Don't get me started.
You know what, LeRon? I don't want to hear it. I'm talking to Stephanie right now, a real Nintendo fan. Okay.
Okay. You know what? That's fine.
You go buy your glow-in-the-dark mouse to play God of War with. Okay.
You know what I wish? I wish there was a way. I mean, there really isn't, because I have a couple of my actual real Nintendo 64 controllers, like maybe even a little like dongle or adapter, because I have two. One's your traditional gray one, another one was like an atomic red or the red controller, which I love.
Yeah. I have 6 N64 controllers for some reason. I don't know why I have 6, but I have 6. I have a gray one, a blue one, a red one, a green one, and then I have the banana yellow one that only came with Donkey Kong. And then I have the atomic purple one, which is like the see-through purple.
Yep.
So
nice.
Yeah. I could probably get rid of some of them, but yeah, I don't know. Someday maybe.
Maybe. But yeah, not playing too much, but that's kind of it.
That's okay. It's okay. It's good that we don't have a lot to talk about there, because we have 3 topics tonight. So
let's get to it.
Yeah, buddy.
Who's going first? Stephanie, we're going to do your topic first, because I really want to talk about it.
My topic, or like a I guess, yeah, my topic / a collective topic.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can.
It was mostly
I took a screen.
It was a fan write-in, technically, but.
Yes, and I'm trying to pull it up now because I took a screenshot of it, and of course I cut it off in my screenshot. But I have it here from, let's see, Alan_Paxton, who retweeted Reggie 800 Nintendo Secrets. That, between 2005 and 2008, Retro Studios was working on a Zelda spin-off for the Wii, starring the last surviving male Shiekah. The game got canned, but in 2020, lots of concept art made its way online, including Horntown and Rocktown. And there was like an attached YouTube video that just talked about a lot of the behind-the-scenes stuff at Nintendo. And if you were to see this concept art, like I retweeted it as well, of Horntown, and Rocktown, like it almost looks like the Horntown roots has like these really tall trees, possibly living spaces at the top of these trees. It almost looks like what we're seeing in Breath of the Wild 2, quote unquote.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying that's what they're using, but this is a topic that's been touched upon before, and it doesn't happen with, just the Zelda franchise, but, it's amazing to see what's been considered. And I know in other Zelda podcasts, like Another Zelda Podcast, or I think it's called the Champions Cast from by Zelda Dungeon,
Mm-hmm.
They've always talked about, like, what would make a great spin-off, because Zelda doesn't really have a lot of true spin-off games, and I'm the big Zelda dork here.
Nerd.
Yes, and I'm proud of it. I mean, what do we really have? We have the Hyrule Warrior style spin-off. We have a Cadence of Hyrule spin-off. There are the Tingle games that I don't think really is accessible for the most part in America. And we always wonder,
Four Swords, I guess, technically, could be. Maybe, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, they tried to make a spin-off series out of that. I enjoyed Four Swords though, because I love that format from Zelda.
Can I just say, and I'm not always a good predictor, but I did write a Boss Rush banter about what would be the next ideal console, quote unquote, to go on Nintendo online expansion pack, and make it the Game Boy Advance games, because not only do they have an excellent library, but, and I don't know about you, LeRon, I don't think Nintendo would do this, but Four Swords Adventure would be a great opportunity for Nintendo to bring that to Switch Online and improve their online.
Hell yes.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I'm like,
yes.
That's the perfect game for that.
Yeah, Game Boy and Game Boy Advance for sure are just, they're home runs. I don't understand why they haven't been added yet.
Yeah, and this YouTube video that comes with this retro Zelda game comment was that the main reason why Four Swords did not really sell well was just because of all the hardware that was required at the time. Like, everybody had to have their Game Boy Advance, and they all had to hook it up to the system. If Nintendo just made this accessible via online, I feel like more people would be happy to jump into it and play.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, what do you guys think about the possibility of having a Zelda spin-off? And would you think that maybe Nintendo truly has canned it forever, or do you think they say they canned it just so they don't give out any secrets and maybe they might use it in the future? I personally love the idea of a spin-off for a Shiekah. Like, I think Shiekah is a great way to take the series.
Yeah, you could almost do just to have different playstyles. You could have Zelda and Shiekah, right? Like, you could use the Ocarina of Time dual kind of personality type thing of as a gameplay mechanic, where Zelda can only solve certain puzzles, or Shiekah can only solve certain puzzles, or you could do Zelda can maybe solve the puzzle one way, whereas Shiekah could be more stealthy and go in another way, or more action oriented or something. It could almost be almost like a Deus Ex style game, or like a Dishonored almost, where you can kind of play the game however you want, and you can kind of swap the personalities and upgrade different trees to kind of play the way you want to, almost.
That would be cool. And you know what? I have all the Zelda books, and I saw the concept art for Breath of the Wild, all the different iterations of what Link could be. Mm-hmm. And I think there was one where it was more modern day Link. Now, I'm still not a fan of that, but Shiekah have traditionally been known to be more of the tech people, right? They always have this ancient technology. So if they had a spin-off of a Shiekah game, they could introduce a more high tech and less high fantasy style, and I think some people would dig it.
Mm-hmm. The other idea, we actually talked about this a long time ago on another show that I guested on probably 2 or 3 years ago at this point. But Dark Souls is the big thing right now, right? You could almost, people want to play a Zelda so bad, they want Zelda to save Link for once. You could almost do a Hyrule Souls style game, and Shiekah is the main protagonist, and Shiekah / Zelda could fight through a Dark Souls style Hyrule to save Link.
Ooh, yeah.
And maybe it would be easier than Dark Souls, right? Because it's a Zelda title and Nintendo wants it to be as accessible as possible. But you could almost do that style of action RPG where you can be a ranged character, you can be a magic wielder, you can be a tech person, you can be a up close and personal kind of dual wielding person. You could take that so many different directions, and I think Shiekah would be the perfect character to do that with.
And, it was more outlined in maybe Ocarina, maybe hinted at in Twilight Princess. But you know how the Guerdo, I know it's a different race, but only one male is born like every 100 years or something. Mm-hmm. That would be kind of like another interesting, I don't know, take. And maybe you could play as if you could have been the potential Ganon or Ganondorf and just have that different perspective.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think they might have mentioned that in that video as well. But what I find curious, not that Nintendo scrapped an idea, because I know that they've canned a ton of things, but this got brought up because the concept art started popping up in 2020. How do you think stuff like that got buried leaks out years later? Do you think it's a coincidence, or do you think people are always actively searching for these things?
I think. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, Corey.
Oh, okay. I know there was that Nintendo Giga leak like 2 years ago where a ton of stuff from Nintendo 64 on, like Nintendo 64 through the Wii era, a lot of information, a lot of prototypes, a lot of things got leaked. And I think that this might be where some of this concept art originally came from, was that Giga leak. And I just think people are always fascinated because Nintendo famously or infamously is the company that's the most secretive about all their products, right? Like you look at Microsoft, they're pretty open about everything, right? They'll talk about anything. They'll kind of just be like, yeah, we did this, it failed, whatever, but we're working on this. PlayStation, kind of, maybe, sometimes they're open, sometimes they're not, but Nintendo is so secretive. And I think Nintendo's mixed with Nintendo's long history that just makes people way more interested in what Nintendo's been doing, what they've done, prototypes, right? Like we talked about the Mario 128 demo at Space World in 2001, and it ended up becoming Pikmin, and like it's that kind of stuff that is weird. And Nintendo they create a concept and then they put the concept around characters that would work for that concept, instead of saying, oh, we have to have a Zelda game, so we have to have a Sword and Shield, right? I mean, that's just Nintendo, and everybody's always fascinated with what Nintendo does because they always work so differently from everybody else.
True.
I mean, they designed the Nintendo 64 controller around Mario 64. That was they made a controller for a game, right? That's ridiculous.
Good point.
Because that controller literally sucks for everything else except for maybe Zelda, was Z-targeting and moving around and stuff. But like, that controller sucks, like for literally everything else. Anyways, sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna say that that I feel like it's a lot of due diligence on the gaming community, and a little bit of controlled leaks and stuff like that. In the case of Nintendo, I don't see this being a controlled leak. I feel like this is something somebody sleuthed out, or something that a former employee probably let loose or something like that. Because even if the corporations don't always seem like they're our friends when it comes to like us as gamers and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. I feel like actual development talent and stuff, they're like, you know what, these guys helped us out, like they actually got us good paychecks and stuff like that. So sometimes as they're walking on out the door and stuff like that, they drop a couple of breadcrumbs and let people do the rest of the work.
Okay.
Yeah.
Plus, like some of the stuff comes out sometimes where somebody's applying for a job, and like an artist is applying for the job, and this is part of their portfolio, right? And some of that stuff just kind of makes its way out there,
The major reason why I don't think that Nintendo themselves actually handled this leak is because Nintendo does have like a tumultuous relationship with its fans, and when I say tumultuous, I mean the fact that look at how people were about the Legend of Zelda. What we thought was going to be like the sequel to what was it? Ocarina. What was it? Yeah. Well, look at the backlash on that. Everybody saw that gorgeous video, and they thought this is going to be the sequel, and then we got Wind Waker, which Wind Waker is not a bad game, by the way. But there was backlash on that because Nintendo for sure learns from their mistakes. I feel like they learn from their mistakes kind of fast in certain aspects, and then they don't learn fast enough in others. And they learn from their mistakes when they accidentally let something loose. Like, like for example, like look at all the games that, like we saw. Metroid Prime 4, good example. Good example. Like the community is beating their asses right now. It's trying to, wanting to know when's the release date, what's happening with this game and stuff like that. And Nintendo let it loose a little too early and stuff like that. So and now it's all like mum's the word over there and stuff like that. And I think they use that approach to like anything they have in concept,
Mm-hmm.
Because look at all the Metroid Dread stuff, like
yeah, that game was canceled 3 times before this version, right?
I looked into the history of it because there was a YouTube video out, and I checked it out, and apparently it was supposed to be debuted in an E3, like we were supposed to get some information from it at an E3, and then at the last minute Nintendo pulled it from the roster, so there was nothing to talk about, even though people had an early program that has Metroid Dread on the listing. And you know how journalists are when they see stuff, like they're immediately already trying to write stuff up and stuff like that. That's how EGM got an actual release date, or a proposed release date, and a platform that was supposed to be on back then.
Yeah,
that makes sense. I mean, the one sad, I don't know, maybe it's just me knowing Nintendo and certain franchises. They seem to be very rigid with Mario and Zelda with their formulas. Like, I think I'm not putting Metroid down because I've grown to love the franchise, but you can tell by the frequency that they've released Metroid. Like, they put Mario way up here, Zelda's kind of like close, and they just seem like this is the formula that works. Everybody loves this, so I always hope that they want to keep things quiet on concept art because they'd eventually use it. It's just so the idealistic side of me is like, yes, maybe someday they will have that Shiekah spinoff, but the other half of me is like, I know Nintendo. Well, we all kind of quote unquote know Nintendo, and the likelihood of them actually deviating from the formula for at least those 2 franchises just doesn't seem realistic.
Yeah, but we got Cadence of Hyrule, right? That was one of the most unexpected things I think I've ever seen come out of Nintendo.
Touche. I feel like a dev must have really loved whatever game.
They did. Miyamoto fell in love with it, and then him and Anuma started playing it the original version together, Crypt of the Necro Dancer or whatever.
Yep.
And they both loved it, and they contacted the developer and said, "Hey, would you want to do this with Zelda?"
So let's hope they're playing some Souls game and maybe get inspired to do that spinoff, Yeah.
I mean, the Zelda game I really want, it's not a spinoff game, but I don't know if you guys remember the original Zelda Wii U demo they showed off it was just called Zelda Wii U. Where it's not the original Breath of the Wild trailer. It's not that where he's running from the Guardian. It's literally, you look it up. It's from 2013. Just look up Zelda Wii U tech demo, I think is what it's called.
Okay.
It's the greatest version of Link in a castle fighting a Goma you will ever watch. And it was going to be the Zelda Wii U title. And it never came out. Just Nintendo.
I'll tell you one more quick thing that it would not be a spin-off, but I think it would be a remake. Now that Metroid Dread has come out, and I never was a fan of side-scrolling games, but just the fact that they made the background so lush and interactive, and it had very good cutscenes that allow that 3D aspect. Wouldn't it be amazing if they did, what would be the right word for this? Not remaster, reboot Zelda 2, because there are elements of side-scrolling there, in more of the Metroid Dread format. Like, I think that would be so cool. I know it won't happen, but that would be pretty cool.
I would almost like to see a Zelda 2 in the style of Link's Awakening.
In Link's Awakening, I was going to say that. As a matter of fact, it would be perfect because then, because and this is me giving Nintendo some free ideas. They can release a bundle,
a bundle.
Link's
there
Awakening,
you go.
Link's Awakening, Ages and Seasons.
Yeah, or the Oracle games would be great.
Wait, is the Oracle games, right? Oracle Ages and Oracles of Seasons, right?
And then maybe they would make the third game too, because remember that was supposed to be a trilogy.
Wait, was there supposed to be a third game?
Yeah.
There was supposed to be a third game, yeah.
I did not know this.
I think it was called Oracle of Wisdom or something.
Right, and I think the concept was dealing with time, I think, but I think they either ran out of time or whatever that was, resources, time, whatever.
I see what you did there.
Yeah, I think they just couldn't figure out how to do that whole like kind of password system thing with 3 games and like which order to kind of ease players into playing, because like they already mastered the 2 versions of a game, right, with Pokemon. And obviously Oracle of Ages and Oracle of Seasons are 2, like they're similar games, right? It's similar enough to where they could almost be the same game in certain points, but like I wonder if they just couldn't figure out how to do it across 3 games.
Yeah.
Possible.
Wow. So. That was a good topic. I'm glad, that person, shared it on Twitter. And if you guys haven't seen it, check out the YouTube video. I did retweet it at Klimov_author. It's a great video. You learn all these behind the scene things about Zelda. Like people were, the devs were working on a direct sequel to Wind Waker 2. I mean, they went into detail about that. A lot of behind the scenes stuff. It's a really good watch. I highly recommend it. And one can always dream. Maybe there will be a spinoff. Who knows?
I would really like to have Alan on the show at one point. I like Alan. We used to.
All right, Alan, join us.
Yeah, he lives across the pond though, in Scotland. So it would be like, I don't know, 3:00 in the morning, I think, over there right now for him. But
I'll adjust my schedule to hear a Scottish accent. Come on over. Woo!
Yeah, I miss talking to Alan. He used to come on Nintendo Power Block sometimes, and it was a good time.
Nice.
All right, LeRon, what's your topic?
All right. Well, then, my topic is definitely not video game related tonight. Hey,
I'm just kidding.
We are Boss Rush Podcast. We're about entertainment as well as gaming. Come on now. All right, so here's one that is probably gonna either be embarrassing or make you angry tonight.
Or both. Or neither.
What is your current favorite streaming service or platform, and how many are you currently subscribed to? Now, I am just talking about this. I am just talking about stuff like Disney Plus, Hulu, Netflix, all that stuff. I am not talking about Game Pass, PlayStation Plus, Nintendo Online, because I mean, if we add the gaming stuff in, like we're gonna really embarrass ourselves.
But LeRon, I'm so glad you brought this topic up, because I wrote an editorial about how gaming subscription services are like exploding, and that editorial is coming out this weekend. So cool.
All right, I'll be on the lookout for it.
Cool.
But maybe this clip will go in that article.
Maybe.
Synergy.
But since I'm already blabbering, for TV subscriptions, my first one that I signed up for, and it makes sense probably for most, was Netflix. And I stayed with Netflix because they had The Office on there. Obviously, until more recently, they went to Peacock. But that was the primary reason why I got Netflix in the first place, and why I've had it as long as I've had. I mean, in general, I still think Netflix puts out a decent amount of content, though I just watch it and use it less and less. I gotta be honest. Amazon Prime, just because there's so many other benefits, but Prime Video, I used to subscribe to Disney Plus, but due to budget cuts, I am sharing with a family member.
Nothing wrong with
that. I used to have Hulu, but again, due to budget concerns. But it had a 99-cent every month for a year for Black Friday. So for this year, I have Hulu.
Oh, nice.
It's so embarrassing. I'm rattling them all off. And I did subscribe to Disney Plus. Not Disney. I said Discover Plus.
Discovery Plus. Yeah.
Discovery Plus. Because
Plus is a good word, though.
Yes.
Wait, isn't Discovery Plus part of the Disney Plus package, though?
No, that's National Geographic.
National Geographic.
Yeah,
okay, thank you.
And I know it sounds trashy, but I'll own up to it. I signed up for Discovery Plus because it is 90 Day Fiance on it, and I just really need to get my 90 Day Fiance.
You and my wife in that show. Oh my gosh!
I can't.
Every time I walk in, she's watching some sort of version of that show, some sort of spinoff of that show. I'm like, oh my gosh, this show just never ends. Each episode is 90 days long. Just like, just stop.
The type of people you see in there, it just makes me feel so much better.
Look, to be fair, I watched a guy put mayonnaise in his hair for like 10 minutes and I was intrigued, so.
Oh, okay.
Wait. Actually, isn't that... Well, I mean, I don't know if that's technically a treatment, but I mean, I know people put raw egg and olive oil in their hair.
No, he was like this short, like he was like this really short guy, and he was going to like the Philippines or something to meet some girl, and he was a hairdresser, and he put mayonnaise in his hair every morning.
Ooh, can you imagine the smell?
Right.
So.
Right.
No, there's so many other ways to manage your hair.
Yeah.
But,
my wife hates that guy.
I think that's my long list. Yeah.
Okay, well, that's not too bad. That's not too bad because I know some people that's got a laundry list of stuff they subscribe to. Mm-hmm. Me currently, I am kind of reining it in, for the most part, because I have the Disney Plus package that comes with Hulu Plus. Well, actually, it comes with Hulu. I had to upgrade that to Hulu Plus. And here's a funny story. A couple of Christmases ago, my mom got herself a Fire TV stick, and she was asking me to help set it up and everything. So I set it up for her. Like she had an Amazon. Well, she had a basic Amazon account. She didn't even have Prime. So when I get to telling her, I was like, okay, so like, what'd you get this for? Did you get to watch like movies and TV shows and stuff like that? She's like, yeah. I was like, okay, what are you subscribed to right now? She's like, what are you talking about? So I basically helped my mom set up like Netflix and she was asking me about all these movies and stuff and like TV shows and stuff to watch. So I was like, you know what, Hulu Plus is probably the safest bet for you. And then right when I was getting ready to subscribe for Hulu Plus, I was like, wait, there's Disney Plus. Just get Disney Plus and you get Hulu included in the package and stuff like that. So basically, how this winds up becoming, I have Disney Plus, the Disney Plus package is my mom. She canceled a credit card that she was that she was using to make that payment, and then she was getting a notification that the service was coming to an end because she wasn't paying for it. So I was like, okay, I was like, Mom, we need to set you up on a new credit card, and she's like, okay, I can do that, but I don't want to set it up on any. But she rattled off all these credit cards and debit cards she had, and I'm not sure which one I want to set up on. I was like, okay, Mom, I'll give you a little bit of time, because I was using her Disney Plus package at the time. I'll give you a little bit of time. I'll put my card up on it, and then when you figure it out, we'll just switch it back over. That's my Disney Plus account now. Because since then, not only have I just been paying for it, I've been paying for it for over a year now. That's my Disney Plus account, even though it's in her name. I even upgraded us to Hulu Plus because I can't stand commercials.
It's fair. Yeah, we have whatever the Hulu like super package is, it's basically cable at this point. Is that Hulu Plus or is that Hulu?
That's Hulu TV. TV.
That's what we have.
I thought about Hulu TV. The only problem is that go back to commercials. I'm not ready for that.
Well, if you watch the on-demand stuff, it doesn't have commercials. But if you like record it and stuff, it'll still have commercials. It'll
still have commercials, yeah. So I'm not ready for that. Plus, I feel like I don't know. Like me and my roommate a few years ago, we went through some stuff trying to like cut cable. Like we cut the cord for cable and stuff like that. And for a while, because there was PlayStation. What was the PlayStation?
PlayStation TV.
There was PlayStation TV.
PlayStation View.
I subscribed to that, and was it PlayStation? I can't remember. You're probably right. I subscribed to that for a little while because in all honesty, like I needed to watch news, like that's one of my things. Like I need to watch news, so I subscribed to PlayStation. Yeah, like okay. Without trying to make this too political, after I'd lost my job at GameStop, it was a while where I could not get regular employment. When I say regular employment, I mean like an actual day job that like direct deposit into your bank account. Like I wound up doing quite a few gigs that were basically being paid under the table and stuff like that because I have this resume that's basically it's intimidating for people for hiring managers to look at because like I have such a diverse diverse job history that during the recession, when I was out of a job, every time I'd apply for a place, I was basically overqualified for everything I was applying for. And everything that I was applying for was the only thing that was available. So here I am, this overqualified guy, trying to apply for a job. I'm just trying to pay my bills and stuff like that. So I couldn't get a job. So during that time frame, remember it was Obama versus Romney. Because this is Obama's second term,
right?
Oh, okay.
Remember all the rhetoric about like what was the 40 something percent, where it was basically people that are trying to live off of the government, like take everybody's money and all this stuff. Well, I was having a conversation with a friend, and his wife was talking, and I was like, I really don't like the rhetoric that I'm hearing, because basically it's saying that people who are in a bad position are just trying to like take everybody's charity and free money and stuff like that. And I remember she came at me because she was like, well, aren't you living in your friend's house right now while you're unemployed? And isn't he taking care of you and paying your stuff? And I was like, okay, I see what you're doing here, but it's a different circumstance because he made the offer. I didn't ask him for the help. So basically, and this is all around the time those debates and stuff were happening. And that's when I realized, I was like, hey, like they're talking about certain people. And all of a sudden I got put into that category. So it was at that point that I realized that, I fall in the middle of those wedge issues. So I started following more close and exact attention to the news from that point on and stuff like that. And,
fair enough.
So that's how I wound up. Like I get into this vacuum where it's like I miss television because I miss the news, and I miss the cable news cycle because, but I'm really scrutinizing on the cable news that I watch. But I miss the cable news cycle because, like, if you watch enough of it, you get the information that you need or the information that you're looking for. And I feel like I'm one of those common sense people that where like if I see some knee jerk reporting, like I'm gonna go look it up. I'm not just gonna believe it at face value. But I can't say the same for everybody else. So that's why I had like the PlayStation View. Yeah, PlayStation View at the time. And PlayStation View was great until it got expensive. Like PlayStation View, because they had this nice little package. It starts you out at $15, and then the next tier was like $25, and then like the ultimate tier was like $40, but the ultimate tier got you like 70 different channels, like 70 different things.
And I think HBO was included at some point. And
you got HBO at a discounted rate for your first year. And then it went to the regular rate that HBO was charging everybody. But so after the first year of PlayStation View, it was good, and then it went up. Like it basically went back to cable prices, and I was like, wait, I can't deal with this. I cut cable.
Yeah, and then they lost Viacom, which was like Nickelodeon and MTV and like all those other channels that they own, right? Like Cartoon Network and stuff, which was like
that was
they lost that. And the prices went up. And then they started to lose CBS, which was a big deal for people. And
because CBS was already trying to do their all access stuff.
Yeah.
They were prototyping their all access stuff because all access didn't become a thing until what, 4 years ago?
Yeah. Well, that's about the time the PlayStation View was going out, and they pulled out of like Hulu and I think they pulled out of Hulu and PlayStation View and anybody else that was offering like YouTube TV and stuff. They were pulling out all that because they were prepping their streaming service. So PlayStation View was interesting.
I enjoyed it. I even tried Sling TV for a while because Sling TV had a promotion where you got 6 months free. That was pretty cool because it actually had better offerings than PlayStation View did at the time. And so I tried that out for a little while, but but Sling TV had commercials.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Does Sling TV, is it known to have certain content? Like, is it known for something? Like, what's its
Sling TV? Well, Sling TV was the first one that boasted having all the sports packages.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was the first one that boasted having all the sports packages, and I think Sling TV is now part of DirecTV.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're owned by DirecTV now. Yeah.
Well, that makes sense because I don't have cable, and one thing I really missed that wasn't on the streaming services I had were sports. So if I wanted to watch a Red Sox game that was on like the specialty networks, I was like desperately trying to find like what streaming services had it, and I think that's where I might have saw Sling TV. But I'm like, I can't sign up for another subscription.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I would say invest in a good like HD antenna for your television.
Mm-hmm. Like
invest in one.
Okay.
But yeah, so let me see. I have the Disney Plus pack. I have the Disney Plus package with Hulu Plus and ESPN Plus. I have Prime TV. Well, yeah, I had Prime Video. I'm sorry, Prime Video. And here's a shocker for you. I am subscribed to YouTube Premium.
Okay.
Yeah, fancy. The reason this guy,
I subscribe to YouTube Premium, number one, to like get rid of the ads, and because I have friends who do a lot of online stuff, and the first thing they do is they get on me when they see I have ad blockers and all that stuff. I even have ad blockers built into my browsers on a root level and stuff like that. And they get on me when they're like, "Where's your ads at?" I was like, "Oh, who the fuck has time for ads? Like, I'm trying to watch." Do you know how infuriating it is to watch a 7-minute YouTube video and it gets clipped in 4 different places because they have to throw an ad in there? That's some bullshit. So yeah, one of the new Samsung phones I had at the time gave me like a 4-month bonus of YouTube Premium, which I jumped on and I forgot about it. But by that point, like I was hooked because like not only was I getting ad-free viewing, but I was also getting access to all the YouTube Red content, and like some of that content was very unique at the time and stuff like that, and it was pretty interesting. Like Cobra Kai started off as a YouTube Red show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then Netflix snapped it up.
Yeah, just like everything else Google does, they half-ass it and then they don't want to spend money on it anymore.
Yeah. So is that everything? Yeah, that's everything because I'm borrowing Netflix from my roommate, and I'm borrowing Paramount Plus from my boyfriend, and I'm trying to find a way to sweet talk him so I can get his HBO Max. But I think he did well enough though because he knows all of Star Trek is on Paramount Plus. So he's like if I let him just view this, he'll shut up.
Wow.
Yeah.
I guess it's my turn. We have Hulu
How
TV.
embarrassed are you?
I'm not. We actually don't subscribe to that much, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. Hulu TV is what, $65?
Look, if I would, no offense to my wife, I love her, but if we weren't married, I wouldn't subscribe to half of the things that we're subscribed to. Hulu TV we're subscribed to, which is something that I wouldn't be subscribed to if she didn't have to watch all these shows that she needs to watch, right? Like I just wouldn't. It's not worth it to me. Because Amazon TV has, if I wanted to watch the Browns or something, Amazon Prime has the NFL Network, and I could just do that. So Amazon Prime, Netflix, and Disney Plus are the big ones that we're subscribed to. Okay. That's it, really. We're borrowing HBO Max from her mom. And there's something else. Discovery Plus from her mom.
Uh-huh.
So, yeah, I think that's it, though.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been tempted to subscribe to Apple TV. Does anyone have Apple TV?
I also have Apple TV, but I canceled it after Ted Lasso was over.
Okay. I forgot to add probably my favorite streaming service. My favorite streaming service that I am currently like part of or subscribed to. Well, actually, I would say part of because I like Netflix, but Netflix is honestly one of those things that I use like it's more or less in the background for me when I'm doing work. Like because I'll just find a show that I know like the back of my hand and have it playing in the background, the reruns and stuff like that. But I do like the original content and stuff. Even though I feel like Netflix, I feel like Netflix has become the Nintendo of the streaming services because like they hate their fan base.
It's going up again. Did you see the prices going up again?
That too.
$20 a month.
But it's criminal. It's criminal what they do to their shows. Like some shows don't even last a whole damn season. I'm talking about Cowboy Bebop. Even though Cowboy Bebop has issues, but still,
that surprised me. Cowboy Bebop surprised me because they usually do 2 seasons.
Yeah.
Before they cancel something.
Well, the turnaround time for them canceling was like really give you whiplash. Like they canned it in less than a month.
Yeah, it was like 2 weeks after.
Yeah, they canned it in less than a month. I
watched like half of it and I was like really enjoying it, and then they canceled it, and I was like, well, I'm not going to finish it because there's nothing to look forward to after it's over, right? Like I'm just not going to waste my time.
That's the problem I have too. I lose my drive to continue watching a show if I hear it's been canceled. Yeah. Like, if it's a current show and it's been canceled, like the odds of me finishing watching your show are bad. But if it's a show that had been on years ago and it got canceled, I may watch it then.
Yeah. It just, I don't know. Netflix. I don't know if I would even have Netflix either.
I would say Disney Plus is my favorite one, but the problem is Disney Plus still needs to get more content. I really hate to say that. And also, there are some things that Disney that the people behind Disney Plus need to do to streamline it, because like I'm a big ass kid. Like I love those old school ass like Donald Duck, like Donald Duck goofy cartoons and stuff like that. And the fact that I play one and it doesn't queue like the next one up pisses me off. It's like
I wish they had because you know how they put like they started doing those collections like 3 or 4 months ago where there's like the Darth Vader collection or the Captain America collection. They put all the stories about that character. Like, why don't they have a Mickey Mouse collection where I can just like watch the classic Mickey Mouse cartoons in a row, like probably all 30 of them or whatever, and like, or just put them in a playlist, like a YouTube style playlist, and you can just hit random and they just play back to back.
Oh, right. That'd be nice.
There's so much stuff they could be doing, and you know what? It's not just Disney Plus, because HBO Max has that problem.
HBO Max's app is the worst. Their app is terrible. It's awful.
Yeah. Like I like, because like Netflix, for example, like you're watching a movie, and when the movie's rolling credits, it gives you 3 suggestions of what you might like next. Or when you're watching a TV show or something like that, it automatically queues up the next episode, and you only see like 5 seconds of credits at best, And then of course 3 episodes later, he gets the "you up." You still watching?
Yeah.
See, Netflix does a lot of things right when it comes to that, but I gotta agree too. Like there have been times where I've considered canceling my subscription to Netflix because I don't know. I've watched what I wanted to watch on there, and I don't know. It's just so packed with fluff content, and some of their movies they make, I'm like, they're mediocre.
It's like Netflix was awesome when it was the only one, right? And everybody was putting their stuff on Netflix, right? And then when NBC pulled out and Disney pulled out, and all these other companies started pulling out to do their own streaming service, it's like Netflix was left with what? I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm enjoying The Witcher, but I'm not going to subscribe to Netflix just to watch The Witcher, right? I don't remember the last like Netflix original show that I absolutely loved, right? Like we watched Christmas Chronicles over Christmas, right? Because those are fun movies and my kids enjoy them, but like there's like 1,000 Christmas movies on Disney Plus and Hulu that I don't need. I don't know. Netflix just feels like a relic of the streaming service era at this point.
Yeah.
But the problem is like Netflix has like the strongest like presentation value.
They do.
Yeah.
I almost wish not that we've already talked enough about acquisitions, right? But I wish someone like a Disney or an Apple TV or someone even HBO or Warner Brothers and HBO would buy Netflix and use that technology to better their service almost. You know, like
yeah, you know what? Yeah, because even Apple TV is like not streamlined the way we figured it would be streamlined because
it's
like
set up just like every other Apple device. It's everything's in its own little square, and you just got to keep scrolling until it's there, right? And it's just like
exactly.
And then they have the remote with like 2 buttons on it, and you never know which button does what because none of them are labeled. And it's like, Jesus Christ, dude, just make a real damn remote. I don't care if Steve Jobs didn't like buttons. Give me a remote.
Yeah,
you know that's why he wore turtlenecks, right?
Why?
Because he didn't like buttons.
Jesus Christ.
Oh.
Fun fact for you guys out there. Anyways. Yeah.
I think I haven't left Netflix is because I have FOMO. Because like Netflix has been there for a long time. Almost everybody has Netflix. I'm like, if I cancel, what if I miss out on, I don't know, what everyone's talking about, which I don't know if anyone's really talking about anything. But
I mean, The Witcher, a lot of people are talking about The Witcher. A lot of people really liked Castlevania. It seems like it almost, because in Sony's PlayStation Studios shows and movies are going to go there. Right, because Sony signed that big contract with Netflix to put all their stuff on Netflix, right? Like, all the Spider-Man movies are going to be there after they're done with their run in theaters or whatever. All the PlayStation stuff, like that new Twisted Metal show and Uncharted, are going to be streaming there. Like, there's content coming that's sort of interesting, but, like, I don't care at this point. I just don't care. I don't care. Like, Netflix is just... Like I said, it's a relic. It was really awesome when it first started, and it definitely revolutionized how we watch television, right? Clearly. But its reign at the top is over. You know, I don't know. Disney gained 35 million subscribers in 1 year. 1 year. It's so stupid. You know, and I don't know. Also, I think Netflix is... None of these other streaming services are available in a lot of other countries, and a lot of companies put their stuff on Netflix in other countries.
Mm-hmm.
Canada.
I do feel like Disney Plus has the best marketing strategy though, because like a guy like me, I can't seem to not want to unsubscribe to it because they've got me hooked. Like I love sci-fi. So the fact that it keeps flipping back and forth between Marvel and then Star Wars, like I can't.
Well, Moon Knight starts March 30th, right? And then there's what's after Boba Fett.
Weren't we asking what was going to be after Boba Fett? Because like I feel like there was no projected Marvel series next. You know, after whatchamacallit just ended.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we know what's coming. But there's no like timeline of like this is when this is happening. Like when WandaVision, Loki, and Falcon and Winter Soldier were coming, right? We knew like, okay, WandaVision's at the beginning of the year, Falcon and the Winter Soldier's next, Loki's next, and then the last one, what just happened? Hawkeye was last, right? Like we knew that.
Yeah.
They haven't really done a big presentation of like here's what's next, right? And I mean, now we know Moon Knight's coming on March 30th, but what's happening between the end of Boba Fett and Moon Knight to keep people? You know, so I don't know. Something's probably happening. I just wasn't paying attention. By the way, did anybody watch? Speaking of streaming service, anybody watch the Lord of the Rings trailer today for Amazon?
No, I didn't.
I didn't either because I don't care. Somebody's gonna ask us if we watched it. No, I did not. I don't care about Lord of the Rings. I felt Laron's eyes roll from here.
No. I don't really care about Lord of the Rings either. I don't.
I mean, I liked Lord of the Rings at the time, but I wasn't like having that intense passion for it. Like I enjoyed it at the time. Do I really want to go back and revisit it? I don't know.
Yeah, I was way more into like. I think I was way more in like Harry Potter at the time, and like whatever Pixar was putting out.
Same here.
It just, I don't know, it wasn't for me. I fell asleep halfway through the first movie, and I was like, meh. So cool, good topic, LeRon.
Yeah.
Good topic.
You know, someday I gotta say, just to conclude or end, I think initially people liked the dawn of streaming, not only for convenience, but because it's a more cost-effective way than cable, so to speak. But I feel like if you're not careful, well, I was going to say, if you're not careful with all your streaming subscriptions, and if you want to tack on video game subscriptions, which we didn't get into,
and music,
it's like, and music, you're right, and music, like, are we really saving money now?
Yeah. I mean, I think in the long run, you might be still kind of saving some money. I mean, don't get me wrong, ever since I moved out of my parents' house, I've never paid for cable, so I really don't know what a cable bill costs. I'm not gonna lie to you. I only pay for internet. Like I don't care. Cable's not for me. The only reason why I really cared about cable is to watch sports, because that was like the big thing that people enjoy watching that was still stuck to cable, right? Even if you wanted like NFL Red Zone or what was it, MLB TV or whatever, like you still had to have a cable package to add it onto. And now like you can go to clevelandbrowns.com and watch the game wherever it is just by going to their website. You can just watch the game. Or if you have Amazon Prime, they have NFL Red Zone, I think, now. So I don't know. It seems that those packages are coming off all cart. And I think PlayStation has an MLB app. I think there's an MLB TV app on PlayStation, and then I guess Xbox would probably have it too, I would assume. So.
All right, cool. We rolling one more topic or?
Yeah.
What?
No, we're rolling one more topic. I'm gonna go.
Right, cool.
I'm gonna ask the topic, and then I'm gonna go check on my child because she's crying. So,
okay.
Boy.
Well, it's not really my topic. A fan wrote in to us, probably like 3 or 4 weeks ago at this point now, and asked us if we could reboot Boss Rush, how would we reboot it, and what would we do differently?
Are we talking about the entire entity of Boss Rush, or are we talking about the show?
The whole thing.
Because I feel like we've rebooted Boss Rush podcast like 4 times.
No,
now.
I know. You guys go first. I'll be right back.
All right, LeRon, anything off the top of your head? Because I'm the newest, greenest member. So,
the first thing I would say is probably, I think what we have right now is good. We have a flagship show for each of the platforms. So Nintendo, Microsoft, and Sony. We have a flagship show for each of those. So I know for sure that's something that we would would definitely keep intact. I think one of the things that probably would be handled differently if Boss Rush were to be rebooted like right now is streamlining the content. So it's more. It's nice that everything's all in its place, but at the same time, I feel like like Arsenal X, for example, probably should have its own channel, but still be under the Boss Rush umbrella, like kind of like what Crossroads is right now. We're under the umbrella, but we have our own channel, which is technically my channel, but that's a different story for a different podcast. But like Nintendo Power Block, Boss Rush Network, Nintendo Power Block, but Nintendo Power Block should have it. And that way, like basically it gives us a little more wiggle room. Like for example, say someone who is actually helming the main Twitch page, if they actually want to stream games that night, they're not rubbing elbows against a show that might be live at that particular point and stuff like that, because everything can be found right now, with the exception of Crossroads, on the bossrush.net Twitch stream.
That's actually a really good point, LeRon, if I could quickly put my input in there, because coming from a fan standpoint, because I came originally as a fan, at first I was a little unsure about, like, when I was listening to Crossroads, I saw it was specifically at your Exodus 803 Twitch stream, but then when I was like trying to tune into Power Block or Boss Rush, I noticed it was all just under Boss Rush. I did get a little confused. I mean, I figured it out, like it wasn't that hard, but I was like, oh, okay, so are they separate, the same? And you're right, like it would be cool in case people wanted to utilize it for streaming and not hog up. Yeah.
Another thing, I feel like we definitely should have gotten. I feel like we definitely should have gotten like the writing portion, the website portion off the ground a lot faster. And I don't know, maybe I don't really have the bounds of the right to say that, because because like I'm only a year and a half into like my tenure here at Boss Rush. Like I'm still I still feel like I'm one of the new guys here, you know. But yeah, when I was in, like, yeah, you know, like we had articles and stuff on the website and stuff, but it's nothing like what it is now, which is amazing, you know. You know, and I'm glad to be actually part of the writing team, because back before like there was an official writing team, I would get asked like, hey, did you want to write something, or but a lot of time my time was being utilized like editing, you know, like making sure like things would look good, you know, before it go up for print, you know, and publication on the website and stuff like that. I'm trying to think of it. There is one thing that I feel like that we could get a lot better with, and this might be me speaking out of turn, you know, if we were to reboot. But one thing is like definitely need to have like a bona fide like face for each of the fixtures and stuff like that. Technically, I'm the face for Crossroads, you know, but at the same time, you know, like I'm one of those weirdos that I don't want our roster to change. You know, like I understand change is inevitable. People will come and go and stuff like that. Like right now, Nellie's on hiatus because of work, finances, and school and stuff like that. You know, so that's one thing. You know, Crossroads started out as a completely different beast. Like I was the only me and Nellie were the only people. Well, technically, right now, I am the only person from the original roster since episode 1. Nellie's coming back, you know, but Logan was part of the show at one point, as well as Brody from Diggity. He was on there. And it's no reflection of those guys and stuff like that. They had their own stuff, but I feel like sometimes we have a way of giving our viewers and listeners whiplash if things are changing a little too frequently and stuff like that. So, you know, and I can't make the demands on people. You know, I can't say, hey, like, you know, like, can you make this commitment? Because, you know, like, I'm willing to do that, but I can't speak for the next person and stuff like that, you know. But it'd be nice, you know, like pure consistency, you know. Because even right now, like Crossroads, like it's in this weird place, because like it seems like for the last 3 months, like you know, like we don't have like the full squad on the show. Like one person's out, and I'm always scrambling for like to find someone to like fill in, because like Austin and I have great chemistry, and Chris and I have great chemistry, and Nellie and I have great chemistry. But it seems like when it's just two people talking, like like it gets kind of weird.
Yeah, I think I've always thought that like 3 people is like the sweet spot for a good podcast, and then having a guest, a 4th chair or whatever is kind of like 3 to 4 people for a podcast is the best, right? Like 2 people is like, it's okay, like you can have a good back and forth, but I still think like having a 3rd person to bounce stuff off of, right, or having it just creates a whole different dynamic and a more interesting conversation, you know. And I get that like interviews are different, right? Like that's, you know, our 1v1 is one of our most popular things, right? And that's great, but that's not really a podcast, right? That's just like an interview. And interviews are interesting to listen to because it's a one-on-one interaction. Whereas when you go into a podcast, like especially a gaming podcast, you want all kinds of different, what do you call it? Like different ideas and how people feel about things. And even though like the video game industry is pretty, you go somewhere and everybody has the same opinion, except, you know, in a lot of cases, which is why I don't listen to a lot of gaming podcasts anymore. There's only like 2 or 3 that I listen to now. But yeah,
but I also feel like, you know, like if we reboot it, like we would be, I feel like we've gotten to a point right now, and this is and when you were away checking on your daughter, I was saying that I still feel like I'm a newbie at this point, Corey, because I mean I've only been with Boss Rush for a year and 6 months now. But I definitely am appreciative of like whenever you guys feel like it, you ask me for input and stuff like that. I do appreciate that and things like that. I feel like in all honesty, the trajectory that we're on now is probably a trajectory that we definitely need the trial and error to get to and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Like I just wrapped episode 66 of Crossroads, and it does not look or perform anything like episode 1 did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like it doesn't even look and perform anything like episode 25. And 25 was a big show for us because we actually had like the voice actor for Leon S. Kennedy from the Resident Evil Resident Evil 2 reboot and the current Resident Evil animated movies. Yeah. we had him on the show and stuff, and that was one of our great shows. And like it still evolved from there. And now I feel like I've gotten to the point where like the show is great, and the only reason why the show is great is because like I had the time to do trial and error and figure things out and stuff like that.
Quickly, guys, I apologize if you heard any loud crashing. I went to turn my space heater off, which was right below me, and my cat decided to leap off my lap and tear off all the cords that were attached to my laptop, and my laptop came crashing down. So
actually didn't hear any of that.
Yeah, I didn't hear any of it. I saw the camera do something wild though. Yeah. I didn't hear any of it.
Yeah,
that's what happened.
We got it on video though. It's like one of those found footage monster films, like I don't know.
Oh yeah, like oh my gosh,
Cloverfield or Blair Witch Project.
Yeah, those are things I would say, and honestly, and honestly, like I said, it's only because like I still feel like I'm new here. Like I haven't come through the trenches like Corey and Ed and Jesse did. I haven't, you know. Yeah. Like as a matter of fact, Celeste, Logan, and myself, we were like the first of the new people that were brought on before we actually had the Boss Rush expansion, you know. Mm-hmm. Which what do we call it? The second generation?
I don't remember. I missed that. I don't know. I'm probably the one that made it up and I forgot already. So sorry. Whoops. Yeah. What about you, Stephanie? I don't know if you went when I walked away, but
no, not really. I defer to LeRon first because I really am a newbie, like a complete newbie, at least from the podcasting standpoint. You know,
that's not true.
I started off as a fan, then went to the.
You've been on 19 episodes now. You're not new anymore.
I mean, in comparison, right? My history was I was a fan, then I joined the writing team, and then I snuck into a couple podcasts, and then just somehow poof, I'm here, and now you can't get rid of me. But the only two things I can think of did mirror what LeRon said. The first was it'd be great if the writing portion could have kind of launched not simultaneously, but it would have been nice to kind of get them coordinated from the beginning. That would have been cool. And then also just when I was a fan, like because Crossroads had LeRon's like Exodus like Twitch channel, and then there was this big Boss Rush channel, but Nintendo POW Block and I think Arsenal X were all under that, and it would have been cool if they still had their own specific identity, so people could stream on those channels while not interfering with other regularly scheduled podcasts. But that's just more of like, oh, hindsight's 2020. That would have been cool, you know. Mm-hmm. But
well, we actually used to do that, and it was actually like a group vote to pull them all under one roof.
Put it all in one place?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, see, I didn't know that.
I didn't really care for that idea, but it was like a group vote, and a lot of people thought it would be easier for everyone just to have one place. But that actually was like, we actually have an Arsenal X Twitch channel and a POW Block Twitch channel and Twitter feeds for all those shows and everything. Like, we own the social media for everything that we have for their own shows, but people just voted that way, and this is where we are. We were actually going to give Nintendo, because like when we were talking about expanding the writing team, we were actually thinking about doing a Nintendo website specifically, because people really only wanted to talk about Nintendo for a while, and we own NintendoRush.com and NintendoPowBlock.com.
Oh, okay.
Because we were thinking about doing that. We also own TowerCasuals.com because there was a point where we had a decent sized Destiny community and people wanted to do Destiny and Halo stuff, and that's where that was going to live. But obviously, like, that didn't really pan out either.
Mm-hmm. You know what else would have been cool? Again, this is just, from a fan standpoint, because I would search it out a lot, would be, oh gosh, my cat. have more, like, incorporate more, not Let's Plays, but I don't know if you want to call it Let's Plays or just streaming games, just because I also enjoy that. And I just find, or not even that, what's it? There's a couple podcasts that I really like that I discovered at the same time as Boss Rush, and they did, in a sense, like spoiler casts or like a book club version of games. I love listening to stuff like that, which I know we're trending towards that with standard def and stuff like that, but it's fun.
I mean, there is so many ideas that I had that we just, like, our whole thing was like, let's throw everything at the wall and see what sticks. And we actually had a book club podcast, like video game book club, where we would pick a game every month and talk about it and review it. And we have 3 episodes of that. It was the Tomb Raider reboot, Control, and Rhyme, I think, were the 3 games that we did. And then, like, I don't know, obviously schedules happened, and we had a bunch of Let's Play shows that we used to do. Like, we had the retro game show, which Ed and I played through A Link to the Past and Super Metroid. And
I saw you guys Super Metroid one.
Yeah,
that's cool.
That was before I was part of Boss Rush.
Yeah, so we had that. We did a seasonal show called Pod and Play, where Ed and I would play, like, we didn't really plan it out too well, but we would, like, sit there and play the game while we talked about it. But then, like, one of us would not answer the other person because we were focused on, like, figuring out a puzzle or something, and then it just didn't turn out the way it got better as it went on, but it was just, like, not the best way to do that. And, like, Jesse and I started a co-op show where we played co-op games together called Squad Goals, and we would, like, play through the whole games. Like, we played through the entire Gears of War series. We played through 3 Halo games together. We did when Fortnite first came out and PUBG, when they were kind of, like, both in their infancy, we had a show called Royale with Cheese, where we would just play a bunch of different we would play a bunch of different battle royale games in Blackout, Call of Duty Blackout, and, like, we would try to win. Like, that was the whole point of the show, is, like, every episode would be a different one, and you would just see how far we would get.
See, that's very cool, but I completely understand that, we're all adults, at least our age-wise, our number tells us that we're adults, and we have full-time jobs. Many of us have a family too, and it's very challenging to have, like, a ton of ideas that you want to execute them all, but everyone's on different schedules. Yeah. So, like, it's all nice and fine to be like, oh, we want to do all of that, but, like, unless you want to burn out, like, gotta pick and choose and I don't know, evaluate as time goes.
Yeah. Plus, like, I have from 8:30 to midnight every week to do something, right? And it's like, well, what do you want to do tonight? And it just turned into, like, well, podcast, I guess at this point, like, it's just like, okay, well, I'm going to podcast, and then I'm going to sit up and edit the shows while I watch something on TV or YouTube or something. And then I'll use, like, Friday and Saturday as my game time, and that's kind of what life has become at this point. But I wish we could do all that. I wish we could stream games more. I wish we did other things. And that's, like, I was waiting for you guys to go first, because I actually have so much to say on this subject that it's just like,
well, let's hear it, because I'm really curious about what the guy who is, like, basically the maestro.
Exactly.
So,
bring it.
I mean, you're going to hear about this on After Dark in a couple weeks, probably, which was the After Dark we recorded last week. We kind of started Boss Rush out of, like, a long story short, we started it out of, like, we still wanted to do stuff together, but we didn't know what, and we started a podcast. Like, Ed and Jesse and I left our old group to do our own, to basically have our own podcast, right? Like, that group ended. We went off on our own to try to do something together, right? And we didn't really know what we wanted to call it or do. Like, it was called, the original website, you can still see it in WordPress. It was called Codename NX, right? That's because we were just like, oh man, remember when the Switch was called NX and we have a Nintendo and an Xbox podcast that we have? That would be cool. Haha, that's funny. So we started doing that. And, like, the the first like 20 episodes of the Boss Rush podcast is called the NX Show. Like if you go back to those early episodes, it's called the NX Show. Okay. And we basically merged Pal Block and Arsenal X into one show because we didn't have time to do anything else. You know, all of our schedules were different. I think Ed was still working at Toys R Us at the time. I don't think it had closed yet. And I was still, like, I was switching jobs, and Jesse worked the night shift. So we literally only had this small window. We recorded the show in the middle of the day on a Saturday because that was the only window of time that we had together. And then, like, after that, we were like, well, fans who used to interact with us a lot were like, bring back Pal Block, bring back Pal Block, bring back Pal Block. So we did. Like, Ed and I decided to record Nintendo Pal Block during the week. And we would record it, and we felt bad because, like, we wanted to include Jesse in it, but Jesse didn't want to talk about Nintendo. He wanted to talk about Xbox, right? Because Jesse's not a big Nintendo person, so he was okay with it. So we brought back Pal Block, and then Jesse wanted to bring back Arsenal X, which is like, I don't know, that's still the one that like gets me all the time. Is like, should we have really brought that back? Should we have just had like a show that encompasses everything? And then like Nintendo Pal Block could have been like the specialty show, you know, which that's like, if there was one thing I could do to change, it would be that we would have a video game podcast that would cover everything, and then Nintendo Pal Block would be the boutique show. Like, we have a huge Nintendo audience, and that would be the show for them, right? Like, that's probably where I would sit right now. But then, like, there's a lot of other things I think I would have done differently, but I wouldn't have been able to have met so many different people. It's like a catch-22 situation, you know? Like, if I had to do it all over again, I don't even know if I would even have a website. You know, the upkeep, the just the amount of work that goes into it, right? Like, look how many people work on this damn website every day, and like the editing but like at the same time, to be 100% honest, neither of you would probably be here if we didn't even have the website, you know. And I've made so many friends by making so many terrible decisions. That it's like, on one hand, I wouldn't change anything, and on the other hand, I would change everything.
You feel like they're terrible decisions.
I mean, to me, like, I don't know. I don't know if it's just because, like, with the other shows that we started and, like, spending a lot of time trying to make sure this Patreon is set up correctly and making sure everything's edited and scheduled and everything. I've just felt really tired the last month or so. Like, I'm not like not having fun, but I definitely feel a little bit of fatigue in terms of recording, you know. Like, today's Wednesday, and since Sunday I've recorded 5 shows, right? Like, I'm just like, I'm tired, you know. I'm just tired, you know. And I think when I think back, and I don't know, there's a lot of things I wish I would have done differently. Maybe the website would exist still. Like, I don't really know, you know. Hindsight's always 20/20. But the one thing I think that sticks out would be like, ideally, we would have a Boss Rush Games cast where all we did was talk about games and the news and gaming kind of topics, right? And then like the Boss Rush podcast would be what it is. Pal Block would be what it is. LeRon, your channel would almost end up being the PC channel almost at that point. Like I've been thinking about this question a lot over the last 3 weeks because I thought about bringing it up a couple times, but I wanted it to be just like us, or us and like Ed, or us and, you know, somebody else. Like, you know what I mean? Like, the people that are, I don't want to make it sound like people aren't important, because everybody that works on Boss Rush is important, but like, kind of who we see as like the people who are in charge of each of the podcasts and stuff, you know.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know. And I think that decision, the way we went, honestly hinged on if we were going to bring Arsenal X back or not. And bringing that show back really changed a lot. And then also, like, bringing that show back really made the Boss Rush podcast lose its identity because we didn't know what to do with that show after that point.
Mm-hmm.
And it just became this long string of do we, don't we, what's this show, what's our ideas, what's our plan, because we didn't have a plan, still don't have a plan. Really. Just kind of like, oh, we should do that sounds fun. So I don't know.
I mean, but you know what? But that's how I feel like that's how it should be, though. Like, let's do this. That sounds fun. I feel like that's how it should be.
Yeah. And I think the lineup of shows would be a little bit different. So the one podcast, the only Patreon that I subscribe to is Last Stand, and I know people think that Colin is controversial for some reason. I still don't really understand why, but that's a conversation for another day, and whatever. But the way they do their content is something that I really studied over the last year on how we were going to do our Patreon. And we do something similar. It's not identical because they do different things, but their flagship show is their PlayStation podcast. And every time they hit over 10,000 patrons, they do 2 bonus episodes. Under 10,000 patrons, they do 1 bonus episode a week. Over 10,000 patrons, they do 2 bonus episodes of the PlayStation show a week. And the bonus episodes are interviews, topics that revolve around PlayStation. The other topic I was thinking about bringing tonight, if we had a guest, was drafting video games, the 2022 video games, and basing at the end of the year, the Metacritic score on all the games that came out this year. The winner would win a gift card or something.
Oh my gosh, can we do that? Can we do that next week, please? Or not next week, the week after, when you're back.
Yeah. We'll have to exclude January games though, because they're already going to be out. Unless you guys want to include we just do January games first. Draft the January games first, and then we'll do the rest of the year after that.
I don't think
right, and we can write down our predictions, our drafts before we record, just so
yeah.
Yeah. Yes, please. Let's do it.
So, but they do stuff like that for that show, and then they have a retro and nostalgia podcast called Knockback, which is where the idea for Standard Def came from. Although I'm pretty sure I came up with Standard Def before this company even existed for our old network. But anyways, the idea for Standard Def is what they do for their retro nostalgia podcast called Knockback. And then they added an Xbox show, which they do that show and then a bonus episode a week. So they do 6 episodes a week, 3 exclusive, 3 early access, and that's all they do. And they have 13,000 patrons. And which is insane, because you can get all that for just $1 a month, but their most popular tier is $5 a month. And then if you want to be a producer on their show, it's $25 a month. And their producer read-off at the end of every show is 3.5 minutes long, where he's just reading names.
Good grief.
At $25 a month. So I don't know. I really the more I think about it, the more I'm just man, I wish at least the podcasting side of things I wish was different. I think the website would probably still exist, as much as I just don't like working on it, and that's why Lasby's here. That's why Stephanie's here, right? That's why Dan's here in Block. And you guys do a killer job with the website, and I'm really excited I don't have to manage all that, because that would just be a nightmare for me.
Right.
But on the podcasting side, I do wish things were a little bit different. I like where we're headed. The Boss Rush podcast After Dark and Standard Def would all still exist. that would be like those would be the shows that I want. And then like I would do a game, like a Boss Rush Games cast, where we would talk about everything, kind of incorporate everything, maybe a little lighter on Nintendo, because Nintendo Power Block would still exist, I think, in the long run, because I know that show is really popular and I know people love that show. I love that show. You know, and then like I think for like bonus content would be like 1v1. Talk the Walk would be like bonus episodes of like Boss Rush podcast. That would be like early access or whatever. I don't know. There's a lot to like really digest here, but
yeah.
But in all honesty, like I think the way we went all hinged on us bringing Arsenal X back, and in a way, like Arsenal X is the most important show for the direction of the network, because it was the one that changed everything. Even though it's not really our most popular show by any stretch, but like it's the most important show, I think. So anyways, that's all I have to say about that. I mean, I have a lot more to say, but I feel like I kind of want to wrap it up here, and like I don't know. I don't want to spend another hour on this topic, because that's just annoying, I think, to people.
Not annoying, but like it's a great start. And I love how we have it in January. And who knows, maybe we could do another retrospective at the end of 2022 as we continue to evolve. I mean, sure, there's always things we can go back and think of what we can do better. I do that all the time with like how I started off my journey as an author when I released my first book, and how I marketed it, or lack of, or the decisions I made. But you know, part of the decisions you make in the past help determine what you make in the future, and all this other motivational mushy stuff. So it'd be cool to revisit this in a couple months or half a year or something.
Yeah. The other big thing too, that like I would have definitely changed the days that we record stuff. Just because like recording newsy type shows on like a Sunday is like a terrible decision, because by the time that show comes out on Monday or Tuesday, depending on when you wanted to put it out, you're talking about last week's news that everybody's already moved past, right? So like Thursday nights would be like the ideal night to record, and then I realized why so many people release their shows on Fridays or Saturdays, and it's because the news that everybody wants to hear about is happening that week. And by the time you hit Sunday or Monday, the news has already happened, and nobody cares about last week's news anymore.
Yeah.
So I actually think like Crossroads is actually in like the...
I think we're in the sweet spot.
Yeah, almost. Or like even this show, like tonight would be a great night to record a news show, right? So I don't know. There's like I said, there's so many decisions I probably should have made, and maybe we'll reassess that in 6 or 12 months, like Stephanie said. Like, how can we evolve? What can we do different? Should we turn Crossroads into LeRon's PC show? I don't know. Or LeRon just sits there with his shirt off, building a PC for an hour and talking about this week's PC news.
You know, I'm so
show.
I am so pissed off. I am so pissed off. Remember last summer when Henry Cavill was building that damn computer? And I was sitting there like, I do this for a living. How come I don't have 25,000 freaking likes?
It's because you're not Henry Cavill.
I don't know, the way people like look at a random photo of me and think it's a thirst trap. I feel like I'm a contender.
You're still not Henry Cavill, dude.
True.
Are you Superman?
I want to be Henry Cavill. Actually, I want to be Black Superman. I want to be Idris Elba.
That's fair.
Ooh,
that's fair. Idris Elba, Henry Cavill was on the Rich Eisen show the other day talking about video games and The Witcher, which is a very popular sports show.
Because
I think he was on there promoting The Witcher, I think, because he has people promoting movies and stuff sometimes on there. And he was promoting The Witcher, and he was talking about building his PC and his Rich Eisen asked him about his quote-unquote gaming man cave. He was like, well, I live in like a stable apartment in London, and it's like literally the size of like a small room. Because he's always moving to do movies and film and TV shows and stuff. But anyways, that's my Henry Cavill minute, I guess. So, well, we did it. Another episode of the Boss Rush podcast in the bag.
Hells yeah.
I want to thank everybody for watching and or listening to this episode. Remember, if you want the show 3 days early, as well as 2 weeks early access to After Dark and Standard Definition, you can head on over to Patreon, patreon.com/BossRushNetwork, and for just $1, you get all that. All of that. If you're listening on free feeds, by the way, After Dark and Standard Definition premiered this past weekend on free feeds, so you can go listen to Ghostbusters on Standard Definition and our discussion on naughty video games versus After Dark. Oh man, that was a good episode, by the way. That
premium stuff.
Yeah. And then if you like it on free feeds, you can just spend $1 and get 2 more episodes. That's like 6 hours of content for your ear for just $1, guys.
Oh, it's a steal.
Pitching that deal. Anyways, LeRon, where can we find you?
You can find me everywhere. Exodus 803, EXODUS 803. Social media, Twitch and YouTube, gamer tags, PlayStation Network, Xbox Live. Just remember, Exodus 803. That's all you gotta know. Don't forget Tuesday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, typically. Crossroads PlayStation Podcast airs on my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Exodus803. And of course, if you're not a patron, you're missing out on some Boss Rush After Dark stuff, which I am actually one of the main hosts for.
You are the main host, you jerk.
I said the main host because y'all are usually there with me. Okay, I'm the main host. I'm the main host.
I'm like the third wheel of that show.
You are anything but the third wheel, sir.
Stephanie, where can we find you?
You're the one who's got the best stories.
That's not.
You got the most emotions too.
It's fair. That's true.
You can find me as a part of the of After Dark and the Disney installments of Standard Def for sure. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Klimov, KLIMOV_author, and you can see a variety of my articles along with other amazing writers on bossrush.net.
Nice. You can find me at IamCoreyHD on Twitter and Instagram. You can also find me on Arsenal X, the Xbox podcast, and Standard Definition, and a plethora of other content here on the Boss Rush Network. I want to thank everybody for watching and or listening. Remember to leave us a 5-star review on iTunes and Spotify. And we will see you next week. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.